good evening, and welcome to another segment of Certified Unscripted, where we keep the spirit of the game alive. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us again this Tuesday as we talk basketball, but more importantly, we're going to talk a little bit about a lady by the name of Michelle Ice Edwards. I've gotten a lot of emails. I've look through them, and I know all of you are fiending for Penny Toller to get back in sync with us. Whether it's Ruthie or Teresa Weatherspoon, those are my three experts, and those are the young ladies that I wanted to be a part of this show. They are still a part of this show, but I like to let you know that real life gets in the way of a lot of things that we would like to do and just be there every single week. But right now, especially now that it's summertime, we're kind of off schedule. In case you didn't know, my name again is Rita Haywood. I'm the executive producer of Certified Unscripted. And we miss them dearly, but you never know, they might pop in tonight depending on everything that's going on with them. But in the meantime, we're going to just move forward and enjoy the evening and enjoy our special guest in Michelle Edwards. But first, I'd like to bring a young lady on board. As I tell y'all every week, this is not what I do, but it's nothing that I won't do to make things work. I've been a lover of women's basketball. I've seen a lot of it, from groundbreaking moments with Lucia Harris, the Blaze, Nancy Lieberman, any and everyone you can possibly think of. I think I've met, I've been around, and have been blessed to be exposed to their way of thinking. Tonight, like I said, we are going to take a moment, and speak with Michelle Edwards, because she was during that time also when a lot of groundbreaking things happen in terms of allotment. But I first want to bring on someone. Like I said, I don't do this, so I had to go out and find someone who does do this, and her name is Savannah Hamilton. So let me tell you a little bit about Savannah. I'm going to read right from my little cheat sheets. Savannah is host of Inside the WNBA on NBA TV. She is also the host for the Toronto Raptors. She's a sideline reporter in the G League for the 905 crew, works with ESPN, is a producer for the Maple Leaf sports and entertainment industry. The list can go on and on and on, but I'm just going to bring her in so I can shut up and she can take over. Everyone meets Savannah Hamilton. Welcome to the show, Savannah.
Thank you so much, Rita. You're too sweet. Well, listen, you say you don't do this, but you're fooling me. You completely got me. You're good at this. You're a natural.
I don't know about that. I'm just trying to keep it all together,
Oh, I appreciate
I definitely miss my girls, but I appreciate you coming on for the next few weeks, joining us as a host. And we look forward to having you and getting our audience to know who you are as well. So yeah. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself right quick, and give them a little taster.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm very blessed and fortunate for all the opportunities that have come my way, for sure. I work up here in Canada. I work for NBA TV Canada, that segment. I work for the Toronto Raptors, and particularly I have a show called Raptors Today. I'm the host of it. So we do all the recaps of the games. I also, when the Raptors aren't playing, I host the show Swish, as you mentioned, Inside the WNBA, which is truly my baby. Like, just kind of like how you brought this show, this podcast, this show to life, I brought Swish to life and pitched it to my network, and I didn't take no for an answer.
There you go.
You can't take no.
That's right.
And listen, when I'm like manifesting this at this point, when a WNBA franchise comes to Toronto. Listen, I don't know if I could do the media stuff. I think I need to be somewhere in the front office.
Probably just be watching all the games.
I'll be watching all the games, but I want to watch it for free, so I'm going to work somewhere in the organization.
Oh, come on. You already know. Well, it's such a blessing to have you. And I believe I saw you on another show, and I was like, I got to have her. And who did I contact? I think it was who?
You're Cheryl
Stalling. I want to give a big shout out to her for making it happen as she always does. You know, anyone who knows Cheryl knows Miss Big Time does everything and makes a lot of
Mhm.
great things happen. So I appreciate you getting me in contact with Savannah, and I'm thrilled and just looking forward to a great relationship down the line with all the things that we're going to do. You know, we'll be having our regular crew come back, our experts, our host Vera Jones. We miss you, Vera. She's on vacation, but we're going to be bigger and better and stronger and everything in between. But the show today is about who?
Well, it is about Michelle Ice Edwards, as you mentioned off the
Woo-wee.
top.
Ice,
Right? Like,
ice, baby.
there you go. See, what are you talking about? You're not a natural. You're too good at this. Um,
Nah.
well, and also like, listen, Michelle, she is just an absolute pleasure to have on the show. She is just an incredible athlete. I'm learning so much already about her journey and her story, and that she set the record. Actually, she was the first woman in Massachusetts back in high school to score over 2,000 points while still in high school, and that earned her a scholarship, of course, to Iowa, where she played
Right.
there for 4 years. What really stood up to me also, Rita, was the fact that she was also scouted by, I don't know, this guy named
Gino?
Gino
Oh,
Oriana. Yeah. Have you
oh,
heard of him?
yes. Imagine Gino at that age walking into Michelle's home
I
saying,
can't.
we want you to come to Virginia. Because I think he
Right?
was at Virginia at the time, right?
A young Gino. That's
Yeah.
that's
And
something
it's
I gotta wrap my
crazy.
head around. Yeah, because he was
I
an
think,
assistant coach at the time.
yeah, right. I think we need to rub that in his face next time we see him.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. No, we definitely
Yes.
get him on this. Get him on this.
Absolutely. Well, we're not going to keep the fans waiting. You know, we're going to bring Miss Ice in. Let me tell you a little bit about her. I mean, I should know it off the top of my head. Her hometown is Boston, and she was a phenom in terms of her play there. I believe Miss Fran Harris is the one who really discovered her and brought it to the attention of Vivian Stringer. Vivian Stringer then came looking for her, from what I recall. But Michelle has done some phenomenal things. She was actually one of the players that I represented under the guise of Bruce Levy Associates. Everyone wanted her, and she ended up going to Iowa, not even knowing where Iowa was. So, without further ado, I will bring to you and introduce to some and present to others Miss Michelle Edwards. Michelle, what it do? What it do, though?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are stoked to have you. Absolutely, absolutely. Miss
Mm-hmm.
Miss Savannah's going to take over so I can just ease back into the background. So I'm going to let you two do what it do and join in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Good, sounds
Wow.
good.
She's leaving me unsupervised, Michelle. This is
Uh-oh.
not good for
Uh-oh.
you.
Wait. All right, I'm going to stay. Look.
Hold on. This is still Sav's first show. First of all, you guys can call me Sav if you want. That's easier. That's what I go by as well.
Mhm.
Michelle, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on this, and I can't wait to pick your mind on so much things. I mean, we could take it back to day one, because when I was doing my research on you, and you were such an incredible person, such an incredible athlete as well. You did get drafted by Cleveland down the road. We'll get there. But I kind of want to talk about your early days, like your really early days, where you weren't even looking at basketball. You were looking at being a skier and a tennis player potentially. And then after that, you're like, hey, maybe I could do what these boys are doing as well. But what was the pull, first of all, to tennis and skiing? That's something unheard of in the Black community, especially.
What I remember about my childhood is growing up in a very diversified neighborhood, which, to your point, gave me access to all of the things that you just talked about, which were like tennis, skiing. So my best friend at the time, Leanna, and we're still really good friends, her dad was a tennis instructor and had a house kind of like behind the tennis court. So, I picked that up and mess around. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So we both would, because she was a daddy's girl. So that's how she picked it up. And she was my best friend. So that's how I figured that one out. But I didn't stick with it long, even though I still love the game. And skiing came from me following my big brother, Rodney, who he was the first one to actually ski. So we had a neighborhood. I think it was called I can't remember the name, but the Youth Enrichment Services was the name of the program. So it took young people in the community up to New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont every weekend on ski trips. And again, me being the little sister, I'm following him and I'm like, okay, this is cool. But then I actually fell in love with it. And typically when you become pretty good at something, right, you start to kind of like find a passion for it. And that's kind of what happened. I ended up being in the ski club, the race team, won some medals. And that was kind of like my first dream of becoming like the first African-American downhill skier in the Olympics. Like that was my dream. So what happened though, me and my best friend, because we did everything together, we were on a ski lift. And long story short, the ski lift on this one particular trip stalled out. So we were up there for some time, really bad case of frostbite. And I'm like, I'm done. So
how old were you at the time?
Man, I had to be about maybe 12, 13.
Okay. So frostbite, that was it.
Yeah, I was done. I was like, I don't know about this,
Yeah.
And again, I'm following my big brother. So let's say the next summer, we used to go to the park together. And so when you enter the park, the swings and all the girly stuff was at the beginning of the park, and the basketball court was at the end of the park. So I would stop at the park and at the swings, and he would keep going to the basketball court. But this one particular day, I followed him to the basketball court, and I was like, "What's going on over here?" Right? And then there's boys, right? And so I sat there and I watched. There were girls playing too, and I remember, I'll never forget this. There were some girls who were actually shooting the ball in the wrong basket. But that's how I kind of discovered basketball.
Okay.
And I just kept going to the court, and I would never play on a team. I would always just play one-on-one against the boys in the neighborhood. And I had like some big brothers who they would they would say, I bet you $1 or whatever that you can't beat her. So I would make a little money on the side.
Exactly. That's a nice side hustle. Let's call it a hustle.
Right. And but that's kind of like how it started. And then finally I kind of got up the nerve to actually compete. And it's such a crazy story how that happened. New additions involved, Mike Bivens. So I kind of, this woman at this point named Diane Galloway, actually, she put me on the back of, Mark Oliver put me on the back of his moped, took me to Roxbury, and basically I started competing. But again, I was in the projects, and this is the projects where Michael Bivens, Bobby Brown, all of those guys were from. And that's where the first competitive kind of like basketball began. And I started to understand, wow. And it was a tough crowd too. So that's kind of like how the basketball story was kind of born. Yeah.
That's fascinating, because there's so much just to pick off for just right there. You kind of went from the sports that, traditionally, like even financially for a lot of people, are almost unattainable at times. But you, instead of kind of gravitating and staying there, you're like, no, wait, hold on. What's this basketball thing going on here? And I mean, you're talking about frostbite to a Canadian. So I'm like,
so
that's cute. I'm like, that's cute. Get one every winter. But nah, that's super cool. So, okay, so I mean, hustling the guys wasn't enough. Making money wasn't enough off the playground. You had to take it up another notch. So then how did it turn from kind of street ball, as what I'm picking up on, to organized high school ball? Because we both know that there is a difference.
Yeah, so it was this other stop before I got to high school. And that again was in Roxbury. This woman that Rita was alluding to earlier in the introduction, her name is Elfrida Harris, who is a mentor for me back in Boston, and many other men and women who've come up, in Boston. But she was the AAU coach. She was the Roxbury Community College coach, had won national championships. I don't know anything about any of that. And I show up to a tryout, and I'll never forget this. I'm doing my thing, and I fall down. Actually, someone tripped me. Like, no one will ever admit this, but I was tripped. And I rolled over, I skinned my knee, and I started crying. And Miss Harris walked over to me and said, "Ain't no crying in basketball." Right. So that was that was the beginning of our storied relationship.
Okay.
So, I try out, make the team, and then kind of like that's how, again, that phase of basketball started for me.
So did you just pick yourself back up and brush yourself off and be like, okay, or
yeah.
And that was the beginning of the toughness.
I mean, yeah.
Actually, Savannah, I think she might have laid there for a little while longer though, and then said, "All right, I better get up now. I got enough attention on me." So,
oh,
wow, yeah. Rita just came in this time in that.
I just had to, jump in on that for a second.
I love it.
Good stuff.
I have. It's so funny. I have teaspoon in my queue. And
what?
Yeah, she's laying to get on here, but I can't find her. She's not there. So when I see her again, I'll definitely bring her up.
Okay.
It's so funny because we get a lot of questions for our guests, which you are today, and it's so funny. There's Keisha. Keisha is on here every week, and what do you tell me, Keisha? Don't miss the questions today, ladies. Like, she is really on top of it. So, Keisha, I am following my instructions, and I will put up some questions that everyone is asking, Also, Anita Skipper. I don't know if you recall who she is, but she says, "Michelle, it was an honor to play with you." So,
what's her name?
Anita Skipper.
That name sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's up? Oh, sorry. Hey, I'm telling y'all right now. I have told myself, if I'm excited about something, I'm gonna show it.
That's it. That's what you do.
Definitely. Her name. She's married. That was not her maiden name.
Oh,
hey,
okay.
We were teammates. Yes, for sure, in Cleveland.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Nita had a question here also about Gino. And how was a young Gino coming up? Coming ringing your doorbell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with everyone. He was a very handsome man.
Okay. Honestly, I was thinking about that. I'm like, what do you look like?
Well, he had the swag. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charismatic, with that Italian swag.
Yeah.
He was definitely a handsome guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but he recruited you though. What was it like? At the time, I guess he was just an assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, when you were playing, did you see anything special in him, just from a distance as an assistant coach, or were you so locked in your game you weren't picking that up at the time?
I liked him.
Yeah, he was just cool.
Yeah, I liked him. But I think and this is relevant even to today. You can like an assistant coach a lot, but you must have a connection with the head coach, right? So yeah, he was cool.
He was, yeah. So then, okay, let's jump a little bit. I mean, well, I don't want to jump too much because there's so much high school basketball to go through. Let's take a pause and still stick at high school for a second. You dropped 2,000 points in your high school career, the first ever to do that in Massachusetts. That's a huge deal. So, kind of what empowered you? What coach did you have back in high school that really picked you up and encouraged you and developed you and kind of found that spark?
In all honesty, I had and still have an amazing group of people that were in my life, and obviously my family, my mentors, that are still in my life from when I was a kid. So, whether it be, again, Miss Harris, my mother, my aunt, my
Mm-hmm.
brother, my cousins, like my friends. But at the end of the day, I was lucky and almost fortunate, blessed to find my passion at a young age,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because think about how many people go around searching for their passion. But to be able to know that, listen, I would do this for free. I'll
Mm-hmm.
do it in the snow. I'll do it in 100 degrees. I'll do it in the rain. It doesn't matter because I just love this game so much that, I mean, not a whole bunch of people, not everyone can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a combination of me finding my passion along with the amazing people that were in my life and that are still all to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was that moment? I know you like maybe it was in high school, maybe it was in on the playground, but like what was that moment that clicked in your head? Be like, oh, okay, I believe that I'm gonna be something special. Like forget what everybody else is saying. I now believe it for myself.
I had a few times in my life where it clicked.
Mm.
I can remember being in North Carolina, visiting my dad, and I had said I want to go to college, but then I thought to myself, how am I going to get there?
Mm.
You know, I wasn't born with the silver spoon in my mouth. Had no idea about student loans or anything like that. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I got to get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm figuring this thing out, right? I got to get a scholarship. Okay, so how am I going to get a scholarship? Is it going to be an academic scholarship? I don't know because I was a little shaky, right? In all honesty, I was a little shaky.
Fair
In
enough.
particular, my freshman year, sophomore year, but it was my sophomore year in high school that I had that this premonition came that I'm going to go to college on a scholarship and
Mm-hmm.
probably a basketball scholarship, hopefully. So that's kind of like how that happened.
Okay. So it was like it was you doing the math in your head. Oh, we got a question from and forgive me if I mispronounced the name, but Money Williams. What other schools did you look at besides Iowa? She wants to get straight to the good stuff. She's like, forget the high school stuff.
Let's go. Let's go. I looked at Virginia. I looked at Kentucky. I looked at USC. Well, what people might not know or might be aware of is that I was what you consider a sleeper. Where up until pretty much my junior year, the only people that knew about me was Harvard, Northeastern, like local
Local
university
ones. They
colleges,
didn't
right?
have social media.
No, we didn't.
No, it's not a thing about age,
Yeah,
but it's a thing about communication. It's a thing about
I mean,
awareness.
you're right. Okay, so no social media. So I'm just in the park doing my thing, and in Boston, and I had gone to this camp, Bill Cronar camp, where everybody in the nation who was supposedly somebody and ranked and so on and so forth went to that camp. So it was there where everything just opened up. And mind you, that's where I first met Penny Toller.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, that's right. You were the MVP at the camp. What did the camp do for you? And do you remember? What?
She's going through it right now. She break it
Right.
down. Break it down for us.
Hey, that's an amazing question because I was just thinking. So Penny Toller and Tracy Waits were deemed the best guards in the country. So, but they were at the camp, and I don't know anything about that. I'm just balling out. So at the end of the camp, you're right. I got MVP, and Penny Toller got MVP of the All-Star game. And that's where the mutual respect and love kind of was born between us. And we've been cool ever since. I mean, and our paths continued to cross throughout our careers. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious as to where they crossed as well. Like you said continuously. So they crossed in college, I guess, crossed in the league.
Yeah, because Penny was kind of supposed to come to Iowa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
Vivian
you didn't? So you didn't get her?
It was too cold for her.
Oh.
Penny's she's a Cali lady. She likes the sun.
Okay.
And I'm not even mad at her.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. But we played each other in college. And of course in the W as well. So yeah.
It says, Michelle, you played in college from 84 to 88. That's Cheryl Miller's era. Did you ever play against her? Cynthia Cooper, Spoon, Bridget, all those, she said, is the GOAT on this show in the past. Talk about Cheryl Miller if you have any experience with her. She's just dropping all the names right now.
Good. Let's do it. I love it.
Let's go. Dive in.
Yes. So yes, I did know Cheryl Miller. We were in the same era. She was a little older than me, but I played against her my freshman year. And I'll never forget this, right? So again, we don't have any cell phones or anything like that. We're out in Cali playing in the tournament. I'm at Iowa. I'm a freshman. And the ball swung to me. And I was so excited. I caught it and I ripped drive and the ball went out of bounds because I was just so excited. I was like, oh my God. And Cheryl was defending me. So the second time I catch it, I calm down, I rip it, I drive it, tap the glass on Cheryl Miller. Yes.
No, you did not.
But don't tell her because I don't want no smoke.
Yeah, right? That's rude. I was gonna say that. You're rude.
but the story that follows that is so cool. So I do that. I don't even remember if we won the game or we lost the game. Soon as the game's over, I call my brother and I'm like, I just tapped the glass on Cheryl Miller. Right. So he's like, what? So that was kind of like the first time, my first encounter with Cheryl Miller. I mean, of course, Coop, one of the best. Well, obviously Cheryl Miller too, an amazing player. But Cynthia Cooper, we actually played together in Italy for years. We played in a game where I had 60 something. She was like right there too. We was going at it, right? So, and Bridget Pettis, we were in Italy at the same time. I want to say we played an all-star game in Rome together. And who was the other person? Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Miller.
Is Pettis? I don't remember the other one as well. Okay. But it sounds like Cynthia Cooper. Did you ever play overseas? If so, how long were you there? See, they're just feeding in. This is perfect. They're following along our conversation and they're staying on point. Okay, Spoon, Bridget, Cynthia. I think you got them all. And Cheryl.
I didn't really. Okay, I didn't say anything about Spoon. I didn't say anything about Spoon.
Okay, let's talk about Spoon.
So, man, Spoon is. I love her. We go way back as well because we actually lost the NCAA tournament. I think it was the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four against her team in Louisiana. It was like down the street from Louisiana Tech, right? Mm-hmm. But we were higher seed, but for whatever reason, we had to go pretty much on their home court to play to advance to the Final Four. I think we had to run through Katrina McClain, Teresa Edwards, and then we got Spoon and those guys for the opportunity. So we lost to them by 1. But I mean, it was it was a really good game. So then we go overseas to Italy. Spoon's in Italy the same time I'm over there. And we're competing. And at that time, and I don't even know if people know this, but at that time is when, so prior to my class, like a Penny, myself, a Spoon coming to Italy, they didn't really allow guards to come over there. It was all about a post player, center, but guards kind of like they didn't really respect what we were able to do.
Really?
And yeah, it was crazy because
I feel like the game's changed since then. Like it has changed. Like I feel like guards get I'm biased. I used to be a power forward. Guards get a lot of love.
Okay.
But continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, but just like all things, sometimes it's a process, and you have to prove people wrong. So we got over there and killed it, and from this day on, I think, guards are still over there. So it was really good competition.
Lisa Smith asked, how long were you there?
9 years.
Woo.
Yeah.
So, okay. So after playing professional overseas, what did it mean to have WNBA come along? Yo, Anita, you're getting to my question. I was just about to ask that, I literally want to know, like, it was such a different decade at the time. And, I was telling Rita that, two things. One, my twin sister has played overseas in Europe and in Australia now. And I had an aunt. I don't know if you know her. She might have crossed paths. Her name was Carol Hamilton. She played at Ohio State. She played in Italy as well, back in the 80s as well. And she was also made a WNBA appearance around your time as well. But I've heard the stories of how different the basketball was back then, and even the introduction of the WNBA. You even see it in the way that they first marketed the WNBA, right? They were trying to sexualize the women. They're trying to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff that like now was be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
But kind of what was that initial feeling? No, I want to take it back one more step. What was the initial feeling when you heard the rumors that the US might be opening an official women's basketball league?
So what's interesting is I don't remember any rumors, because again, there was no social media, right? And no one was really making phone calls. But what I do recall is we were actually in Rome, at the All-Star game. And my agent at the time, who was several of the other women over there's agent, Bruce Levy, he had come over and he just talked to us. We were all in a room. He said, listen, David Stern is thinking about starting a women's professional league. And I was like, what? Like David Stern of the NBA? So that sounds pretty legit, right? Because there were like several leagues that were trying to kind of get off the ground while we were busy doing our thing overseas, i.e., like remember when they had the rim? I don't know if you remember, but there was sorry, there was a professional league where the rim was at 9 feet. I mean, 9 feet. Or they had these.
How'd you feel about that?
Well, I was overseas on 10 feet, so I just thought it was, just
like,
trying to, they were trying to figure it out, and how to create a sustainable league in the States, which I respected immensely. However, so you had that league, and then you had the league where they had really like tight fitted clothing, like you said, the innuendos or whatever. But and then you had the ABL, right? So the ABL was actually going when we got word that David Stern wanted to start a league. So, and ironically, at that time, the year before that, I had said, I'm done. I'm tired of coming overseas. I want to be home, figure my life out. So I was getting ready to retire. And then, again, my agent was like, gave us the information. And I was like, I'm in.
Hey.
I'm like, sign me up, baby.
I just got chills. Just getting that. I can just picture that moment. I just got chills for you just now.
Yes.
So wait, so one of the questions before that was actually just how old were you when the WNBA came in 97?
Who asked that question?
It was Mike Hoops.
I was just playing.
Oh man, no.
I was 30 something in my 30s.
Oh, okay. But what's crazy is that like I think about even Nancy Lieberman, like I don't know how old she exactly was, but she was up there in age by the time the WNBA. I feel like, and I mean, hey, listen, I'm happy that the WNBA exists, but I just feel like it came too late. Like it should have come in like 1990 at least. Like I wish I had it sooner to have you guys more so quote unquote in your prime, right? Like younger at least. But in 30, I know you're still balling. Like you still won championships, so which I'm sure we're gonna get there. But it's insane that it took David Stern to kind of get the real one off the ground.
Well, again, in conjunction, and okay, so check this out. So I just had the opportunity and the time to watch Dream On, the documentary, right? And I had totally forgotten what they had to do to even get that going, because I'm overseas. So I knew that they were together, and it was pre-Olympic year and things like that, but I didn't understand. So after I watched it, it all came together, and I'm like, wow. So that was the missing piece to actually starting a league, because they had to, as I forget who said it in the documentary, but we were the guinea pigs. I think it was Carla McGee. Right? Because they needed to see and make sure that it would be sustainable based on what happened for those 52 weeks or however many, however long they were together. So yeah, I had totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So now let's talk WNBA. Let's talk your first year. What was the feeling like? What were your expectations for yourself at this point in your career? You're just one step about to retire, and now you're like, hold up, put the trees back on. But there had to be question marks at the same time, especially when it comes to like the early stages of any new league.
You know what? I didn't question it. I kind of I had learned a long time ago to kind of be where my feet are
Mm,
and just be in the moment. Like it has been a process for me to get there or to have gotten there, but I didn't think about will it last or anything like that. I just knew that it was first class. The people who were at least in my organization in Cleveland um, were good people,
mm-hmm,
uh, and while it was a business, it still felt a little bit about family, but it was a
mm-hmm,
business, you know. But maybe having been the franchise player, I didn't feel some of the, you know, maybe not so great moments that maybe some other people have felt.
mm-hmm.
But I it was great. It was great to my grandmother came. I can't remember how old she was, but she was, I think, in her late 80s or 90s. Like she was at a game. Like, I mean, what? I mean,
She pulled
yeah,
up.
yes, she pulled up. And mind you, she probably has a lot to do with why I even got involved in sports because I used to go over her house, me and my brother. She was an avid, whatever Boston team professionally existed, she listened to them on the radio.
So
Didn't watch TV.
Celtics.
Yeah. Celtics, Bruins, Patriots,
Mm-hmm,
like every team, Red Sox, every
mm-hmm.
sport and every team. So I think that some of that is embedded in me because of her, for sure.
Okay, okay. So it's interesting because I always think about the generations, just in general, what passes down in generations, and very much so, sports can pass down in generations. Heaven Burke says, Michelle, when you got to the Rockets, sorry, the Rockers, you played with Lynette Woodward and Janice Lawrence Braxton. They were a little past their prime and and had a little game left. How was that? You guys are so talented. Susie McConnell, Eva,
Yeah.
everybody.
You know what, Heaven? Whoo, all of those names. I mean, and I think someone had said previously, or maybe you said it, Savannah, that you wish that the league would have started like sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? With all due respect, right? There was some really good players even before our time.
Yeah.
Like, like Nancy Lieberman Klein, Lynette Woodard,
Mm.
Lucille Harris that
Yeah.
was talking about. Oh my gosh, it's so Val Walker, Deb Walker. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I know that it's important to recognize the past and while you can't change it. I have always had the mentality that, in particular, in the league, I really wanted to do my very best to represent what it's supposed to look like for
Mm-hmm.
young girls coming up after, right? It wasn't even about me at that time. It was more so about doing whatever I could so that the league could continue to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to go like 25 last year, I was just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like you said, Coop Spoon, like all of Kim Hampton. I mean, it's so many names. But again, I'm just so like blessed to have had an opportunity to do that.
What was that like carrying that weight?
Oh,
Oh, dropping in.
I figured I'd add a little surprise while you were getting all sentimental and stuff.
yeah, you see, I was tearing up, girl. Come on,
Yeah,
Spoon.
yeah, making them fall.
Hey, I've been listening. I've been sitting listening and out on the court, running, looking, coming back, looking, listening. But Michelle, you got to know this. The one thing I heard when I came back, I was listening, and I heard you say, "Man, I love Spoon. I want you to know how much I love you and how much I always talk about you because you are one player I believe that everybody forgot how gifted you were. I didn't. I had to guard your ass every night, so it was a difficult time every freaking night. the smoothness, the awareness, being alert as a player and knowing what you had to bring to your team every night, and you brought it. And that's also this that people kind of get all tied up and hooked up on is the greatness, was all over the offensive side. But your greatness was, I'm going to do both ends of the floor. I'm going to play offense, I'm going to play defense. And that's the example that you set for everybody who's as gifted as you are. Not that I'm going to kill you on the offensive end, but I'm going to go and I'm going to stop you. I know I'm going to get up 20. I'm going to get 20 with ease, but I'm going to stop what you're going to bring. And you had that mentality, man. And it was like, poor me and VJ every night, we were like, hey, when I get tired, you get her. When you get tired, I'm going to get back on her. It was just a difficult night trying to defend you, but you got to know how much your gift made me better. Your gift made me sit and say, okay, what do I have to do better to stop this action, to stop her counter when I do this? So you always had a player like myself having to think, what do I have to do to be better tonight? Because she's coming to help her team win. She's bringing it, especially when those things on the line and we're playing for the playoffs. Oh, my God, let's not even talk about that crap. Good God Almighty. But you went back all the way to Louisiana Tech time, and we were in Monroe, Louisiana. I know just what we were. We did. We kind of got the advantage on that one. We went 30 miles away from our school. We were 30 miles away, and you guys had to travel so far. So we took advantage of that crap right there.
Yes.
It was a heck of a game, though. It was a hell of a game, man. It was. It was.
Yes, ma'am.
Yo, I'm so thank you. Thank you, sir, for dropping in, yo. You were trying to make her cry. This is the whole goal this entire time. You did a great job. You just finished her off.
We can't have her crying. Everybody will start crying.
I'm telling you guys, I was listening. You got your butt whooped, fell, and the coach said, ain't no crying in basketball. So let's not start this right now. Let's not start this right now. We still the same. We still competitive. We got that juice in us. You know we do.
Yeah. You had someone in here earlier saying, dang, Michelle, you look like you still ball, you know? And so
she sure does.
Baller's page here said, Michelle, you had crazy bounce. Was it natural or did you work on your legs? Because you had lift on your shot. Like that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, coach, I think coaches, I should say, I think you can attest to this. I think, you know, some of that is God-given. But of course, you got to continue to work at your craft. Right. So I think a lot of it was just a gift from God, while also, you know, staying in the gym, doing what I need to do to, you know, just try to be effective every night and have fun. You know what I mean? Like have fun. I had so much fun. I had so much fun, period. I'm going to leave it there.
Okay. Well, I'm personally curious, and Teaspoon, please chime in here. Rita, chime in here. But talk about what the ice and Michelle Ice Edwards means to you.
That's what it was. She gonna ice your ass. She's gonna ice you. She could do whatever she wanted to do on the court. She knew where she wanted to be. Now I can remember this like it happened yesterday. And VJ and I, we do get together. We talk about this a lot. And this was a crucial time in a game we were playing in Cleveland, and we had to get a stop. And we were all over Michelle. Every time the ball got to her, we were all over. She lifted so high over me and VJ. We both were contesting the shot, both of us. She lifted over both of us. She did a freaking Steph Curry on us too. She knocked this shot down, turned around, and was looking at the fans. I was like,
yo.
And it was game over. But nothing we could do because of the bounce, the lift. And like she said, she worked on her craft. But most importantly, she made you have to work. She made you have to work every single night, whether it was an isolation situation, whether she was coming off of screens, whether she was starting the offense, getting downhill. She did so many things that made her who she is. It wasn't one-dimensional at all. So it was a lot you had to prepare for.
Yeah. And you know, if you watch her film, she had that little like kickback. Like if you went back at her, you were getting kicked because she bring it up so high. But then she just had this little kickback thing that you did. I don't know. What was that about? Like, I'm serious.
That extra lift.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, and the air getting up under you. So, I mean, you just kind of went up and then you go up again. So she definitely has skills.
If everybody could just be in this room with me, I'd probably be so red right now.
Oh,
I'm like blushing. And I mean, like seriously, like first of all, Rita and I, we go way back.
Yeah.
Car seats.
Women with the future, right? Women with
Back
the future.
car seats.
Woo! Man, the games down at Columbia, right? The games were Columbia.
Yeah.
Everyone on this right here, if you had the opportunity to watch the talent that was back then with Rita's organization, that's why I'm saying, like, there was so many other women that came before us that showed us the way and paved the way for us, right? They sacrificed wearing those little giddy whatever outfits or played on a 9-foot rim so we could do what we ended up doing. And now, right, Spoon and others paved the way for those that are doing their thing now. So it's just kind of like something that you have to do. If you really care about the game, you want to see it be better.
Right.
For others.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Michelle, what was it like to win the championship in the inaugural season of the WNBA?
Oh, I didn't win a championship.
I was in there, but we didn't get it.
97? Wasn't it 97?
Was that you in Houston?
Yeah, us in Houston.
Was that Houston? My bad. Houston.
But remember now, that was no playoff format. It was one game.
Yeah.
The first year was one game. That was it. One game. So ball bounced your way, championship.
So like Eastern Conference championship, but never an actual world championship. I ain't do that.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Cool,
But you still won championships though. With the Collins? No.
You talking about?
No. I must be getting something mixed up here myself. I apologize.
That's good.
But no, like we got a question from Cheryl coming in right now. What's their best moment in the WNBA during the first season? And don't say the 3-point buzzer beater against the Liberty.
Cheryl, it had to be you to ask the question like this. It really did. It had to be you. You texted my phone telling me to hurry up and get on too. This is what you wanted to do. No, for me, the most exciting thing was to just prepare. Being able to put that uniform over every night. It was the most exciting thing for me, is to gather again and getting ready to play again. That was the most exciting thing. It had nothing to do with a pass, with a dribble or a shot, or none of that. It had every bit to do of being warriors with those girls I had an opportunity to play with. I enjoyed that more than anything, is to put that uniform on with them and play. More than anything.
Michelle?
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to listen to your comments on that as well.
It was so many. I think just having the opportunity to play in the States. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we paid our dues, and like there were people over there longer than I was. 9 years. And then to be able to come back and again have your friends and family, because a lot of family members didn't want to travel overseas for whatever reason. You got to get a passport, you got to do this, you got to get on a plane for 6 hours, so on and so forth, depending on where you were in the world. But I would say for me, just the fact that we had a place that we could hoop, and we was hooping in NBA gyms.
Yeah.
What the best resources? 10,000 y'all. I think we averaged 10. You guys averaged 13 or hot. Like, come on. Like, come on.
What? And see, what's getting me, what's tripping me is the fact that they always say that, like, oh, women's basketball doesn't have a crowd. They say that to this day. And I'm like, yo, like, just the other day, Sue Bird had 18,000 people show up just for her, really. Like, let's be honest, like, for her last game. And obviously the good basketball, but, like, you guys are selling, like, good ticket numbers back then, too. Like, people listen, all I have to say is that game knows game. Game knows game. The real fans know what's up. Tina's asking, so she's saying, hi, Michelle. Do you think that today's college and WNBA players understand and appreciate the history of the game? Your era had true pioneers who set the examples for today's players.
I mean, I don't know if that's if I can answer that in a general way, because I think some do and some don't. You know, just like, again, back in the day, some were really interested in the past players that paved the way for them, and some weren't. You know, but I know for me, you know, I try to, you know, keep some of those names alive, you know, and you remember, I mean, because you could go to YouTube, I mean, I'm on film on YouTube. So you already know, like, that was how many years ago? Right? You know, so hey, go Google this. Google her
Mhm.
name.
Yeah.
Google that name. You know, since everything is about, you know, instant, I guess, gratification on the phones and such. So
I wanna hit you guys with a hard question. Are you guys ready? You ready, Teaspoon?
Yeah, Red, let's go.
All right. Top 5 all time.
Oh, that's on you, Michelle. I've had my time. That's on you, Michelle.
I'm out.
Ooh, that's you. I done had my time. They done bust me up with that one.
You know what's crazy? I'm gonna just give one name. Spoon, do you remember Latanya Pollard?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Scoring at will. At will. Do
Pulling
what
up.
you want to do.
Talking about Steph Curry.
That's the difference in us. We go back to those that were before us, and that's what we start to name. We start to name those people. We will name them in a second because of
Really?
the opportunity that they gave to us. They
True.
gave us major opportunity to be able to do what we do, but most importantly, we watched them. We saw them.
Mm-hmm.
We watched everything that they did. It's like, man, I got to be able to do what she does. And it's truly unfortunate that this league came a little bit too late because they missed out on a whole hell of a lot of talent. Whole lot of talent.
Let me ask, one, Erica is holding you guys accountable to your top 5, but I'll give you guys some time to think about it because I know it's a hard question. But in the meantime, let me hit you with this one. It's a lighter question, still kind of tricky, but a lighter one. If you were to play with one player in today's game, bring them back to the past with you in your time machine, what player would that be on your team? Who would you choose in today's game that you'd bring back there?
Today's game? Oh, I'm going back and I'm getting Lynette Woodard. I'm pulling her back with me. I'm getting Janice Lawrence Braxton used to play with you. I'm even gonna pull little Kim Mulkey in. I'm gonna bring her in because I want her as my point guard because she's feisty as hell. She doesn't care.
Okay.
I'm going for her. I'm going for Katrina McClain. I'm bringing in Katrina McClain. I got Vicky Orr on Bullet. I got Vicky Bullet online. I got all these girls I'm bringing back in the fold. You talked about somebody else that I really like, and that's Tracy Waits. Tracy Waits, a young lady I also played against in college. Nobody even knows about her, but she was hard for me to guard. Jung Lee. I'll bring her into the fold. And I guarantee you some people have a hard time with Jung Lee. The name might sound funny, but you will have a hard time with Jung Lee. I'll bring him in the fold.
Okay. Michelle?
I got Medina Dixon.
Okay.
Right? God rest her soul. Medina Dixon.
Yes.
I got Teresa Edwards. I have probably Venus Lacey.
Big time.
You know what's crazy? Like, well, Spoon and I, we played together. Like, I think on whatever certain teams and things like that. I definitely would want to play with Spoon. Let me get on the wing, man. Let me get on the wing. Spoon.
Give it to you too.
Who?
I'm giving it to you too.
Oh, that's why I want to be on the wing. Oh man, Susan Summers, who is actually Summers. I can't remember. She's from Boston as well. She is the assistant coach at Miami-Dade right now. Man, again, to your point, it came a little late.
Yeah.
On a gang of talent and good people. So I'm sure I'm missing some others. Shauna Perry.
Oh man.
Kim Hampton together, but I mean, we could continue this all night.
Whose game? Before I ask you another one, we got Rhonda. Oh, Rhonda came and left. Pop it back up. We can get it back up. There you go. Michelle, can you speak to the role Coach V Stringer has in your life and how has it prepared you as a player and a coach? Congrats on the new position. And as a person, how has this shaped you to impact the lives of the future female ballers?
Yeah.
Good question, Rhonda.
Can you guys see that book? That's her book back there.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, talk about, so I'm not going to get emotional. Okay. I'm not going to do it.
It's okay.
But when I tell you, I think they broke the mold when they made her. And I mean, I spent more time with her than I spent with my own mother. So she has molded me and shaped me in so many ways, has had a major impact on who I am today. And almost like to the point of how to carry myself, how to be professional, all of those things. And not to even discuss what we did on the basketball court. I mean, because conference championships, I don't know, NCAA runs and things like that. And then I think what kind of says it all is the fact that I went back and worked for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But mind you, she's as she was demanding as a coach, she was demanding as a boss as well. So I'm kind of like, but it's good though, because I'm positioned now to whatever comes before me, I'm prepared for it.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying, I'm ready. But when she retired in the spring, right, it was bittersweet. And it was bittersweet because I was really happy for her, but I got really sad thinking about all of the little girls' lives that she won't have a chance to touch. Because I'm telling you, just coming in contact with her kind of like did something for you. If you got a chance to spend a little time with her and just, kind of like share a conversation. So major impact, needless to say.
Erica is asking, what was her best piece of advice?
The only thing I could think of, it was a lot, but the only thing I could think of off top is do what you do and do it well.
Yeah.
Do what you do and do it well.
That's awesome. I love that. That's dope. That's really dope. So do you guys think of your top 5 yet?
I'm really serious. I've already given my top 5 when I've already been asked a question. That's why I was getting out your way. I was getting out your way. Your turn.
I didn't name 5 people. Did I name 5 people?
Top 5. You got more so gave me top 5-ish. 5-ish.
Okay. Now what? Okay, all right, bet. Give me Shauna Perry.
Cool.
Val Walker. Ooh, give me Deb Walker. Because mind you, if you guys don't know who Deb Walker is the first woman I saw tap glass with 2 hands.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before.
Yeah.
So growing up, right, I got Lynette Woodard in the park with me in Boston. We playing pickup. She's dropping the ball in the rim. Okay. And then you got Deb Walker tap, tap, tap on the glass with 2 hands.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. You barely see that in today's game. That's why I'm like, whoa.
Exactly.
So 2 hands. And she was like 5'11". Yeah.
I'm done.
Like
I'm done. What? That's insane. Okay. So now I'm kind of curious for both your perspectives, kind of like how your playing career and kind of being those trailblazers in the beginning stage of the WNBA translated to where you guys are today.
Wow. Oh, wow.
It's a good question. Michelle, you could kick it off.
I'm looking at Spoon. I'm like, damn, Spoon.
I know that.
Olympian. Like Spoon. Like what? Sometimes when you're going through life and you cross paths with people, sometimes you don't really kind of like understand, the greatness that you're standing beside or conversing with, whatever the case may be. And I'm just looking at her and I'm like, damn, Olympian. I'm going to reflect back to Coach Stringer in that, having played for her in a time where there weren't many African-American head coaches, and, how she would make statements like, we don't come in the back door, we come in the front door. She would say like, we don't take crumbs, do what you're supposed to do, set yourself up and just get it done. No excuses. If this is what you want to do, like, mark your plan and go get it done. Right. But also it allowed me to develop tough skin. And I was super competitive, as Spoon alluded to earlier. But we all are, because that's how it was.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it was. But the WNBA, how it's prepared me is, you play on the biggest stage. That was the biggest stage at that time. And, it just, again, I'm going to encompass Coach Stringer's impact on me and the W in that it just prepared me for whatever I want to do. I can do. I don't feel limitations on myself. If I want something, I'm going to go get it. You learn that on the court, but off the court. You know what I mean? Like no glass ceilings, man. Isn't that what they say now today? No glass ceilings. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I'm just resonating with, you just dropped like 17 gems in there. I hope you know that. Like, I'm thinking come through the front, even like the symbolism of walking through the front door. Not even in a literal sense, but like when you're showing up, like you're showing up like your best, like you're committing to it, right? Like you're not going through the back, you're not hiding yourself, you're taking space, you're holding space. So I love that. That's what I'm taking away already from that. Spoon, your turn.
I mean, I shouldn't even say anymore because I think Michelle kind of hit it on the head. But it's the carryover of all your experiences that helps you to find your way in your next step. It's the carryover of every experience and the lesson learned in every experience, and then being able to make the correct decisions to find the solution. And I think that's been my whole motto my entire life is, what decisions am I going to make to find the right solutions for me? Not for anyone else, but for me. It has to be beneficial for who I am and what I want and what I desire. Like Michelle said, you got to go get it. Nothing should stop you from going after what you want, what you desire, and what aligns in what you desire for your career. It has to be in alignment. And if it's in alignment with what you want and what you desire, go get it. Plain and simple. Make decisions to find a solution.
Okay.
Amen, sister.
Okay.
Amen.
Spoon, that brought me back to our interview with Bridget Pettis when she was talking about Leah not going to the ESPYs after she was invited again. Originally, they didn't invite her, but then they came back around and they invited her. And when we had Bridget on, she explained that she thought that was a bad decision because it's about her walking in the door and walking into that room. And once she's in that room, the opportunities are going to come to her because of who she is. So with that conversation, it was thought more so that she should have attended. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Michelle? What would you have done? Would you have told her to just, from the ego perspective of like, you ain't invite me first, now you want to invite me because the whole world knows you didn't invite me, that type of thing, like, or do you see it as, yes, all right, they came to their senses, let me go and do what I'm supposed to do because God's going to handle the rest?
I might need a recap on that. What happened?
Aaliyah from South Carolina.
Boston, okay.
Right. National Player of the Year, so on and so forth, was not invited to the ESPY Awards. So the ESPYs were on maybe about 2 weeks ago. So you're talking the top players, the top, different sports figures in the industry. She was not invited initially. Dawn made us think of it because Dawn's an advocate for women. She's an advocate of what's right, what's fair. And it's like, how in the hell did you not invite her? And her thing was, now they turn around, they give an invitation. She's not going to go. She decides not to go. She declined it very nicely, very much in a manner that was appropriate. But we had a conversation. We had Bridget on as one of our guests, Bridget Pettis. And she was saying that she felt that she should have attended the ESPYs because it was an opportunity for her and for people, because of who she was, people would gravitate towards her. She would be able to say, look, they weren't about to invite me, but look who I am in this grand scheme of things. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think maybe when she did originally decline it, and I'm not speaking for her, but I would think for me, if that would have been my ego that said, no. Right. But when you peel that back and you maybe try to put a different lens on and say, wait a minute, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here. And maybe change the narrative, right? And not, again, because sometimes, especially as an athlete, the ego can be a powerful thing, right?
Absolutely.
and
it's rolling.
Right. So no, I think her going, or changing her mind, that was fine. That was cool because again, put a different lens on and change the narrative. Now you get to write the narrative, right? As opposed to just sitting home and being quiet about it or whatever the case may be. So no, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Speaking of changing narratives, Netta Johnson had a question regarding, the passing of Bill Russell. And if you think of it in the context of that, the things that he had to go through at that point in time when he was an athlete coming out, the Jackie Robinsons, the people who, Muhammad Ali's, the people who were out there in the forefront in the beginning. What do you take away from his legacy and what he's given the game? Do you think that players are having that the dignity that goes along with things that previously happened to put them in the room now?
When you speak of Bill, not only are you talking about the game of basketball, what he did in the game of basketball, but being an advocate, that he was for us. He stands tall. He stands tall. He stands firm. He stands in his stance. And I think we learned a lot from him of how he carried himself as well throughout his entire life and his career. And what I like most about those who understood what he did in the game is they gravitated towards him to understand what he did, what he went through, and how he battled through to be who he is. And also someone asked it. I remember Bill Russell calling our games when we played in the Goodwill games and the World Championship games. Yes, I do. I do remember him calling our games, and that was big for him to call our games. Of course, we were never really on TV, but for him to decide that he wanted to be there to call our games and speak about how great women were in the game of basketball, that was excellent for us. That was also growth for us because it's coming from the greatest to do it. He's one of the greatest to do it. So that was big for us.
Absolutely. So, going a little left or a little right, whichever way you prefer. I have Rhonda Singleton. I believe that's Rhonda from Queens. What's up, Rhonda? She wanted to speak on a couple of things. LA was caught out there in the airport. I think you've heard about that one. Just BG as always, and the progression of women's basketball experience in the States. That's a great question, Rhonda.
It's funny because not to just jump in, but I had this discussion today on my show on Swish inside the WNBA. We kind of did a review of just even Kathy Englebert's time as president and everything. And she's done a lot. I'll give her that. She's done a lot, but there's still a lot left to do. And, I think about the way the travel is a huge thing. Also maternity leave, next to didn't exist pretty much before. But I am curious about, Michelle Spoon, your thoughts on the growth in the league in that department, because you were still seeing, how are we seeing these professional athletes and they want to be taken seriously sleeping at an airport?
That's all I can do is just shake my head. When I saw it, that's all I could do was just shake my head, because I think when we first started, we understood the magnitude of this. We knew what we had to do to help it to grow. We knew what we had to do. We knew what we were going to have to go through, but yet and still we wanted to do what we needed to do to allow others to live their dream. We were willing to do that. But after 26 years now, and you're sleeping in the airport, and some are in a hotel, some in an airport, and people are walking by, and you're seeing professional athletes on the floor, wherever the heck they had to sleep. It's not a good look. It's just not a good look. So those things have to change. You have to go to the table. That has to change. Everybody needs to go to the table till what I always say, there has to be a solution. And don't leave the table until there's a solution. You can't. There's like Nneka said, and I truly believe this, is we constantly say that it's advantageous for another team to have a flight to fly privately. That's old. That's old. If that team does have that, then everybody else needs to step their freaking game up and do the same. Everybody now step your game up. Step your game up. So we can't, that has to change. It has to change immediately, because it wasn't a great look at all. I couldn't do anything but shake my head. It wasn't a great look.
What gets me is the fact that how does NCAA D1 women's programs have private jets and private planes and charter flights and not the WNBA per se?
Right.
Michelle, obviously you could speak to that, being a coach as well.
I think at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line. Uh, it's about the bottom line. And while the salaries have come a long way from, 97. I mean, I think I saw something on social media where LeBron made like 37 million, and there was a WNBA player that made like 200 some thousand.
Mm-hmm.
That like what like and I'm not saying that we're at a point where women should make the same as men, but I don't know. They got to figure that out, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, to my understanding, you both correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm going off center here, but to my understanding, the piece of the pie wasn't even percentage-wise the same as the men's. So say there's a whole pie, 100%, men are taking 50% of the pie. Women apparently were only getting like 20% of the pie. So regardless of the financial earnings and income that was coming in the revenue stream, like, at least like say the NBA made $1 million, well, half of that would be going to players like that. So it's 500,000. But for women, if a women's program made $1 million, only 200,000 of that was going to amongst all the players of a thing. So that was my understanding. And like the fact that women, they just want the same piece of the pie. They want the same percentage of the pie as the men are getting.
Well,
Even if the number initially looks a little different.
Yeah, I just have to reflect on when we first started. There was no pie.
There was no pie.
None.
What was that like?
That thing was
No
whipped
pie.
cream.
Was this whipped cream? What was the? I mean, if you don't mind shedding a light, because this is information for me as well. Like, what was the compensation like when the league first started? If there was really any.
What you got? What your contract said? Your likeness, your image, your voice, everything was theirs. Everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You just had the contract that you had. That's it.
Yep. They owned you.
Yeah.
There was no union, right?
Yep.
That came a couple of years after.
That's right.
So, I mean, yeah, it was crazy. So these are the things, like Spoon said. Like we did what we had to do to make sure 25 years later it's still there. Because mind you, Spoon, I don't know if you remember this. There was a point in time where we were talking about striking.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And that would not have been good for the league. But we were like, yo, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
So again, it's coming, but certainly isn't where it should be.
And I think for a lot of people, what that they don't understand is just the way that women's basketball players are treated overseas. Like, yeah, in the NCAA college basketball route, but also overseas is a different level of treatment than the WNBA at points too. So I don't know. This is a good question coming in from Erica. And Rita, I would like to hear your perspective on this from an agency standpoint. What are your thoughts on the NILs, the NCAA bringing in NILs this year?
You go first. I want to hear your perspective on it.
Who's
Mine?
perspective?
Yeah,
Michelle.
Michelle. Yeah,
Okay, Michelle. There you go.
Before I get to that, can I do something?
sure.
So I just want to give a shout out to the University of Central Florida. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. There you go. On,
Go, Michelle.
You know what
Go, Michelle.
I mean? And my boss and my head coach, Satia Messer. I don't know if you guys know Satia. You know Satia Messer?
Yeah.
We gonna meet her. We gonna get to know her.
Yo, she is amazing. My coworker, Tennille Adams, Greg Brown. I mean, hey, again, UCF, baby. Let's go.
Hey.
Wait.
Shout out.
She just got another raise with that one.
Hey. You guys, we can ready to start talking about NIL. That's money, right? Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you ladies what, this NIL thing is very interesting. Some people have not a lot.
Yeah.
Some people kind of like are trying to are figuring it out, and some just are like, okay, what?
Mm-hmm.
What is the expectation? Like, I just Spoon. So think about this, and Rita. So in my mind, and outside of being a coach, right? So it's like, wait, so you want to earn money before you've even, you know what I'm saying? Before you've even, we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
We ain't put the work in, right? So
Right.
so that's kind of like before, but now as we know it, it's about name, image, and likeness, right? So social media followings and how much traffic you're getting via your social media. So it is what it is, and it's here. And we're embracing it at UCF, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Our AD Terry is, I mean, actually we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and we partnered with this company that's kind of like unprecedented, but more information to come. However, it's almost like universities are now really trying to help student athletes figure this thing out because technically coaches aren't supposed to be involved. Um,
Mm.
how- however,
However.
that's why AD is really like he's so good at NIL in that, again, we've partnered. So he's trying to figure it out. And that's important because I know for a fact, for example, right? Some other programs, like, typically it's about the building fund, it's about facilities, right? And now it's coming to a point where it's like, hey, we don't care about that. Let's just put this money in a pot. And when these athletes come and we go to talk to them about coming to our university, this is what we can offer you. Like it's
Yeah.
just to that,
Mhm.
which is I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. I'm
Mhm.
here with it, but it's just like it's wild.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's going to cause problems sooner or later down the line. It depends on how who's getting the pot. Someone's always going to feel left out. Now I'm going to go to your university because
Mm.
you're offering me this now, so it's another advantage. You know, I just think it's going to cause problems overall, and the essence of the game is going to get lost because now everything is social media, everything is numbers, everything is the crowd. But you look at how social media is used, the players aren't necessarily using it to draw attention to their programs, more so to draw attention to themselves so that
Yep.
they can
Yeah.
capitalize
Social media.
on it
Mhm.
themselves. So you look at a team like, say, the Liberty, right?
Mhm.
Maybe they only have 8,000 people that come, but I guarantee you, if all those players said, look, this is what we're going to tweet out, come to the game, blah, blah, this and that, and it was a united front and a united effort, that more people would come to see them play because they are a good team.
Mhm.
So you got to figure out a way to use it to get butts in the seats and to get the dollars in for the university, compensate the players for what they're doing. But I think it's just becoming a big money thing, and we're going to lose the essence of the game and get caught up in the secondary things when we should be focused on, let me get in the weight room and get some
Mhm.
leanness in me,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just there's just so much ego,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, a lot of different things. And I just think it's going to end up biting him in the butt somewhere down the line. Something's going to happen. It's going to be a big thing and messy.
Yeah.
can I ask you a question though?
Ask me a question now.
So what about if you flip that, right? If
Mhm.
you flip that in this way, where so you've had let's say the NCAA, right, that has
Made money,
right.
hand over
So
fist.
yeah, I mean, and again, I'm just talking. This is
Mhm.
Michelle Edwards talking. This is not,
Mhm.
any
Yeah,
institution, university,
absolutely.
but just thinking about how because like when I was in grad school, right, I did a paper on whether student athletes should be paid or
Hmm.
not, and
Right,
I went back and forth with it because go back to the Fab Five,
right.
go back to the
Michigan.
Fab
Right.
Five, right, where Chris Webber was saying, "Man, I'm going on a date with my girl. I can't even buy a hamburger." But I see
Mhm.
my jersey
Hmm.
up in the window sold out.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Like there was something wrong with that, right? And
Mhm.
then what's his name from USC, Bannon, I think Bannon, name, image and likeness, right, on the video. So,
Hmm.
so I think one of the issues is we were never able to come to a common ground in
Mhm.
that in the beginning, let's say that the NCAA kind of like had a certain had whatever their format was, didn't allow student athletes to receive any money, right?
Right.
So you know they ate off of that, and then,
Mhm.
and then now it's at the total opposite end of the spectrum, where
Mhm.
now the student
Mhm.
athletes control everything, but
Right.
we never met in the middle at all. You
Right.
know, to your point where you can control it because of what's the law that they were somebody help me how we even got to NIL
Mhm.
the law nobody nobody knows.
No, I know what you're
You know
referring
what
to.
I'm
I
saying?
don't.
Like
Yeah.
antitrust laws,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So I think what happened was we were never really able to get to the middle. Like we,
Mhm.
we
Mhm,
went
mhm.
from they don't get anything to now, man, they just get everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Mhm.
the problem, if you're to like kind of pinpoint it, really is the fact that social media exists. Like, if they
Mhm.
were paying their athletes before social media, so they're giving them stipends from the jersey sales, that's controlled. Like, you could say you get 10%, even
Mhm.
just 10% of
Mhm,
your own jersey sales. They
mhm,
know how much is going in your pocket. It's just, hey, if your jersey sells out more than the guy who's like left bench right now, then okay, it kind of sucks. But hey, 10% regardless. But
yeah.
now NIL deals and social media in general, like, you can negotiate any
Mhm,
price point, any price
mhm.
range, and that means like completely different. Like, don't be surprised if you see a player one of these days like pulling up in his own paid like Lamborghini. I mean, because like
Mhm.
brands are not afraid to drop the bag on social media just to put their brand out there and say like, look who we got. And there's so many different like rights. And one thing, like, I'm a huge, I know this is me, this is the new school coming out in me, but I'm a huge thing on TikTok. I love TikTok.
Mm,
But that alone has given me some perspective and given my eyes open to the wild west era that we are in when it comes to brands and social media and contacting youth, because
Right.
they have no problem even giving $1 million to
Mhm.
an
Yeah.
athlete, a student, a kid.
Right.
yeah.
And the motivation is different now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you get out there in the park, and you playing because you want to make that team, you want to make the Olympics, you had, certain goals that were
Yep.
communal, that represented the block and everything else. Now you trying to get your game right so you can get an NIL, so you can get that port, so you can be, very much
Yep.
Yep.
just lifted up on that platter. So it takes away. I look at the 1996 team, right? They did what they did. They were selfless because look what we have now, the WNBA. So what are
Mhm.
these players and colleges or companies doing with these kids that's really going to contribute to our communities? The AAUs take the kids out of our communities away from the Miss Harrises and things. They lure them again with money, sneakers, clothes, play on my team, travel. It's like they need the money, so there's got to be, like you said, a common ground, but you're taking away from the
Mhm,
essence of
mhm,
that
mhm.
kid playing that game for the pureness of that game.
Yeah.
Now he's playing it in mind, not that you didn't play with it thinking about money, but you really loved what you did. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just
it
like,
it's a
whoa.
twofold thing. It's a twofold situation, and like, feel free, like, Spoon, you're being a little quiet. I'm gonna call you
No,
out.
everybody's so on point with my thought process. It's just the motivation is totally different now. Totally
Yeah.
different. I mean, I was just looking at an athlete, and they received quite a bit of money,
Mhm.
and they get hurt. Okay, this athlete gets hurt.
Mhm.
How hard are you really gonna work to come back now? You get money just
Mm.
in that pocket. How hard are you really gonna freaking work to come back now? I
Exactly.
want to know
Hmm.
how hard you're going to work, but that money is already flowing in your pocket. But how hard are you going to work to get back out there with your team and go to work?
But in a
That's the
sense,
love of the game.
does that not question their character? Does not reveal their character? Say so.
Revealing it, yes.
Yes.
And
That's
I feel like,
revelation right there.
Yep.
uh-huh.
Absolutely.
It's the followers
Revelation.
that are currency. The followers are
Yes,
currency. That's
yes,
what it
yes.
is. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, we got a few more questions. We got to cut this short. I know I got to go to bed, girl. I'm sleepy now. But there were a couple of questions. Let me see. Y'all can keep talking. I'll find something to put up.
Okay.
Definitely. Netta, we got to you. There was it was about Candace Parker. Excuse me. What are your thoughts on Candace Parker, her impact on the game, her legacy that's going to be after the game, the playoffs right now in terms of who's on that top four, those top four spots? Talk about it. I'll find the question.
Oh, you threw something at it. Y'all have to talk about that one. I'm missing it. I'm really missing it. I'm missing everything right now.
Let me tell you something. Did you hear that? I just got an opportunity to watch the Dream On. Like I don't know what I'm so sorry, and I don't know what's going on. I do like Candace Parker though.
But I want to actually I want to pose this question to you guys that I posed on my show today actually, because this one got me really thinking. Does the WNBA media and fans of the league overprotect its players to a point where we are almost disservicing the truth of the game, like the integrity of almost like the game, because we want to just promote it so much. We want to make sure that it's a good product. So are we almost, because we have women with reputations like Diana Taurasi maybe having some dirty plays, and maybe I don't know, like, is that equal in terms of just the amount of like what a flagrant would be in the NBA if she's doing in the WNBA, or is it vice versa? Do you think that they're still too hard on the women's game?
Look, I'm telling you, if I overreacted to something and did something that could have possibly been harmful to my legacy, harmful to the person that I did it to, harmful to the league, harmful to the organization that I played for, I hope somebody pull my coattail. I hope you pull my coattail and let me know, hey, Spoon, that didn't look good. We're tight, we buddies, but that didn't look good on your part. It didn't look good for this many reasons. For this many reasons, it didn't look good. I would hope somebody would pull my coattail and let me know. That's just me. But there are some things that I've seen that's been a little bit over the top. Over the top.
Over top in what way?
Over the top in some things that was done. I've seen some things, maybe technical fouls that have been given. What was the purpose of those? What was the purpose in the things that was said and the way it was done? What was the purpose in that? And anytime you get up in someone's face and you're jawing off, you know what's happening at that point. You know what's happening at that point in someone's face, and you're going off. What is the purpose of that? What is it? I just want to know what the purpose is. Just tell me what the purpose is of the way it was done. I mean, I might get me one. I'll tell you, I'm going to get me one. I think the first year I led the league in technicals. But I probably did. I didn't do it to harm anyone. I harmed myself. I harmed me. I harmed myself by being ignorant at that point. I harmed me. So I just would like to know, what was the purpose? What's the purpose behind some of those things that happened? Some fouls that occurred that could hurt other players. That could have hurt that player. That could have injured that player and cost their career. Certain things that you do in the moment of anger, in that moment, could harm someone else. It's about controlling that anger, controlling what you're feeling, that emotion at that time, to not harm someone else. Maybe yourself, fine, but not someone else.
Absolutely. So what do now she's out. They say she's out. Taurasi's out for the remainder of the season. Some people might say that's karma for what happened. I'm just saying what other people might think. But I don't know. I don't even think she spoke out after the situation with Sylvia Fowles in terms of, I didn't read anything. Maybe I'm just not reading enough, but do any of you know if she actually had a comment pertaining to that?
I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I didn't hear anything. But the other name that comes in a more recency thing is Liz Cambage. And the fact, the narrative around her, I feel like, in some senses, and she was my favorite. She is my favorite player in the WNBA. Well, now she's not in the WNBA, but in some sense, it's like, I don't know if we always get the full story. And I get that sometimes we'll never get the full story, but I feel like sometimes we maybe just diminish things, or things come out way later, or they're just completely dismissed off the table. And that's why I pose the question sometimes, do we overprotect the WNBA, and should things come back? We have a good question there, Rita. That's a good question.
Yeah. Will
Will
anybody
any
pick her back up? What do y'all
yeah.
think?
I don't know. Like you said, who knows the full story?
Yeah.
I don't know
Mhm.
the full story. So I don't know if that's the case or if someone sees her as a bad apple or whatever the case may be. I don't know what they see. I don't know what they know.
Right.
But like you said, I love the kid. I love the kid as a player. But what do we do to help them in these situations? You know, this is where I believe we as veterans who played in this league should be connected to this league in some way to be able to help them to kind of channel these things in the right way or be able to hear a different perspective from how to handle certain things. I think it'd be great if we were connected to these young players nowadays because I don't know what she did. I don't
Yeah.
know the full story. I have no idea. I have
I'm
no
kind of
idea.
surprised to hear that you're not. Like, I'm kind of surprised to hear that relationship doesn't exist per se with the alumni and like the current players like that.
We wish we were connected a little bit more. We
Okay.
wish. We wish we
Okay.
were.
But
I
we're
think
gonna make
we
it
could
happen
be
though.
of help.
We're all right here. We're gonna make it happen in
Yeah,
our own
yo.
small ways, and it's gonna come together.
I have I have the segment title for you, Rita. It's gonna be called The Rookie and the Vet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cute. That's
There we
cute.
go.
That's
There we
high.
go. We just talked about it off camera, so we're gonna
That's
have some
cute.
nice plans. So, I know it's getting late. We've been on way over time, which is a good thing. The discussion's been great. We've loved having Michelle here, and we've loved having Savannah be our host our co-host, because I kind of been jumping in a little bit myself,
Yeah,
But
naturally.
any special thought or words of wisdom that you'd like to give people out there, Michelle, based on everything you've been blessed with to go through and to come out on top.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom are
Okay.
always good.
I have two things. One, I also need to give a shout out to the WBCA committee.
Mhm.
I'm actually I'm actually on the committee, one of the board members representing the assistant
Mhm.
coaches. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Danielle Donahue
Mhm.
is amazing, and we go way back. But just a shout out to them. Words of wisdom to younger people coming up. Was that?
Yeah, just in general, to those who maybe have lost their dreams, who are prime past their dreams, who wanted something and they
Whew.
didn't get it in reference to playing for the W or overseas. There's just so many variations of disappointment. Um, what would be your encouraging words right now, just kind of having gone through every level successfully?
Whew. You know, I mean, we all have wants and desires, right? And some happen and some don't. However, I kind of like have tried to live in a way that, okay, I want this really bad. I want this really bad. And if it doesn't happen, I'll sit in it for a second and acknowledge all the work that I did for it to happen. Okay, but it didn't happen. So I might be sad a little bit. And then I'm like, all right, we can't sit here too long because we got to get on to the next thing. So what is the next thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you sit in disappointment too long, I think that's when depression, right? And all of those things kind of rear their ugly heads, if you will.
Mhm.
But I know it's not as easy as I'm saying it for some people. But that is kind of like how I've tried to be. Because trust me when I tell everyone on this call, I had moments of darkness, right? So I'm with C. Vivian Stringer for 19 years in different capacities. And I knew her retirement, and I've never talked about this, right? But I knew her retirement was coming, and she deserved it, right? And you try to prepare for that, but when it's not until you actually hear it that you say, "Damn, now what?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And and my experience in those moments were many different things, like excitement and the opportunity to be able to reinvent myself, right?
Hmm.
Or being sad about the end of something that was pretty cool. And so I had to figure that out quick because, because again, Spoon, when you're competitive, you got to figure it out, right? And come up with a solution. So, it was dark for a minute, right? But I got up, dust myself off, and said, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm going to try this, that, and this. Doors were closed. Some kind of open a little bit. I'll let you get a peek, but you can't come in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then one open finally, but it took a lot of work. I mean, because when you're somewhere for 19 years, sometimes people appreciate that, and sometimes people say, well, damn, why were you there so long? And I'm like, that's loyalty, that's commitment. But some people don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's right.
Yeah, but I'm happy for those experiences because all of that stuff made me who I am today. And I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm good. So, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to go through the struggle.
Absolutely.
So that's my advice, Rita.
Yeah.
Way to go. Way to go. Spoon, closing words.
Oh, shoot. Shell just said it,
Said it all.
She just said it. There's no need for me to add, but I'll start preaching on here. So I'm not.
Come on, preach a little bit. We got time, girl.
That was excellent because I just think that you can't be afraid to fail. You just cannot be afraid to fail, and it's really all in your definition of what failure is. What is it? In my book, failure is I will find success in when I fall. I will find success when I fall. I'm going to find it. And in that, like Michelle said, I'm going to sit there for a second, but I'm finding that solution. When I get my ass up, then everybody's going to know that I'm back up again. And that's how you have to think. You have to think that if I fail, I learned a lesson in this moment. And what is the lesson? Whatever the lesson is, you got to carry it in the next step. Like she said, doors are going to close. A lot of doors are going to close, but when that door closes, you make sure you look at that door. You look right at that door. When you back off, you're going into the window. If the window closed, I'm coming down the rooftop. They're going to know that I'm never going to stop because I trust and believe in my commitment to the goals that I set. I'm going to have some no's. I'm going to have some doors closed. I'm going to have all those things that happen, but I'm committed to what I said I'm going to do. I'm committed. I trust in myself. I believe in myself. I got to keep going. But in that commitment, there has to be a form of consistency. I'm going to be consistent in my commitment. Every day that door closes, I'm keep going. I'm keep going. I keep going. The door will open. I'm going to peep in it. And then when I peep in, I'm going to push it open. I'm pushing it open for the next to come. So we got to be able to do that in what we say failure really is. Failure is finding success. I find success when I fall.
Man.
Amen.
Girl. Girl.
Right.
On that note, I'm gonna let Savannah take us out. But first, I just want to give a shout out to my brother out in Suffolk County, Rami Hayward. I just want to say how much I love you. In 2 days, it's a special day for us. So we're gonna hold each other up during the time and just be appreciative of what we've had with Mom and her upcoming anniversary of passing. But I got you, you got me, and I just want to let you know I love you and all the help you give me with this show and everything else. So that's my shout out for the night. And Miss Savannah, take us out, love.
Okay, I got us. Well, I mean, if you get a shout out, then I get a shout out because I'm going to have to give a shout out to Cheryl Stallings for connecting me with you amazing women. Thank you so much for trailblazing in this space. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host tonight. I feel like I'm taking in so much. I'm like, man, I gotta come through the front door, not the back door. I'm gonna never fail to go down the chimney like Santa Claus. So I appreciate everything that you guys have said tonight. I'm taking a lot away, and to our audience, I hope you guys took a lot away as well. Thank you for watching Certified Unscripted.
And what do we say? We're not new to this. We're true to this because we are certified unscripted.
Happy birthday to my sister too, Niecy.
Way to go, Niecy. Love y'all.
Love you guys. Thank you, Michelle. Love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Savannah. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you much.
Yeah. Peace.
All right. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Whoa.
We love you. I'm trying to make sure I'm